On the Couch with GrayBurn is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to On the Couch with GrayBurn.
He's Andrew Gray. And he's Simon Byrne.
No.
Oh yeah, no. Sorry, Simon Douglas.
That's better.
Anyway, tonight we have a very special show lined up for you. It is the 5-year anniversary of GrayBurn Productions, and to celebrate, we're releasing a never-before-seen documentary of us going over our entire career in our own words.
It spans the 5 years we've been doing this for. It shows you the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, and everything in between. And all started back in August of 2010 when we went to Glenlethnote.
Yes, Glenlethnote is where we filmed our first ever GrayBurn featurette. It was crude, it was all over the place, some of the footage was downright unusable, but it has a certain charm to it that can never be replicated or replaced.
Indeed. However, our very first thing was actually filmed in 2009. It was a very short clip which we're going to show you before the rest of it begins.
Roll the tape.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Walking in Whiskey. I'm Andy and I'm going to find Jock's Road, where I'll be joining my pals Simon and Ewan, and we'll be heading off to Ramar, where we'll be discussing the debate whether you should add water to whiskey at the Fife Arms. From there on, we'll be heading to the Royal Lochnagar Distillery at the Balmoral Estate. We'll be trying a dram, and then we'll see what happens from there.
This is GrayBurn, the true story. GrayBurn Productions was founded 5 years ago by two Dundonians, Simon Douglas and Andrew Gray. Tonight, they give their own versions of this epic story, and it all started in a place called Glenlethnote. I was a struggling writer, comedian on the Dundee circuit, and I didn't really know where my place was, where I could take my talents, and I was about to give up the ghost, but I actually met a guy called Simon Douglas in one of the pubs, the Speedwell actually, a good pub, and we hit it off. It turned out we were both kind of struggling to find our place, and we decided to go and try some stuff. So the first place we went to was Glenlethnote.
So it all started off with Glenlethnote, really. We went there, we were going to film sort of a chronicle of our day out, as it were. And things went really, really well. We filmed it, we put it together. It was a bit rough around the edges, but they got our foot through the door. A lot of people commented on how much they enjoyed the experience, how much they kind of enjoyed tagging along on our day out. Even though they weren't there, they felt that they were a part of the day. And so we were encouraged by that. And about a month later we went to Orkney and we filmed something else. And this kind of ended up being more sketch-o-like. It was kind of our holiday experience, but in this sort of sketch-o format, and I think that really went down with the fans that we'd built up. You know, we were getting segments on TV, people were mentioning us in the news, we were beginning to go a bit viral online, and
what we needed to do was move away from kind of comedic documentaries and really go straight into proper scripted sketch-o comedy, and that's when we decided to come up with Onion Bones. Now, Onion Bones was a difficult shoot. Simon will tell you this as well.
During the writing of Onion Bones, things were going pretty well, except we didn't realise just how much work it would be to set up the scenes, do the lighting, get the acting right, and it just ended up what was going to be a couple of hours of fun one afternoon. It just turned into a long slog across 2 days. But we got there, and I think the results, they kind of showed the fun vibe that we had going on during that writing process.
The duo's early collaborations brought them critical and commercial success, which brought them new levels of stardom which they weren't prepared for. Cracks started to show in the creative process as they wrote new material for their ever-expanding fan base.
Of course, Whiskey and Walking is when things started to get a bit more frayed. Andrew wanted a bigger part, naturally, thinking he was the greater of the two, so I had to start writing in more lines for him as he portrayed George Fraser. And obviously, I was wanting to keep things equal, so I was doing the scripts last minute and just kind of rushing them out, and just being a bit spiteful.
But we crafted, well, mostly I crafted, a brilliant character called George Fraser, and it was really my chance to shine as an actor and as a kind of the main focus in front of the camera. And I think that is one of the things that kicked off a bad period in our relationship, because I don't think Simon handled the focus on me very well. He did a good job editing and kind of the backup and things, but he really wasn't comfortable with me being the centre of attention. And I think that caused him to act out quite a lot, not just during that shoot, but in subsequent projects. Was it worth it? I guess that's for the historians to decide.
Gray and Douglas decided to put past their previous differences that happened on the Onion Bones and Whiskey and Walking projects, and go back to an earlier style for their Isle of Skye video, where they would go to a random location and film clips of whatever happened. However, problems in each of their personal lives only served to open up the rift that had already begun.
Our next project was the Isle of Skye video, and for me personally, it's not without its problems. It was okay, I can make my peace with it, but I wouldn't watch it a whole lot of times. But you have to understand that between that and Onion Bones, a lot of stuff went on. I got involved in a lot of creative projects with other people, guest appearances, I was on talk shows, I was experiencing newfound heights of fame and enjoying it. But to be honest, I kind of overworked myself, and that was kind of a prelude to my eventual drug struggles as well.
So we decided to go to Skye. We've always both really enjoyed the experience of being on Skye. I went there a lot when I was younger, but the problem was I was in a bit of a toxic relationship with Taylor Swift at the time, and that was kind of just coming to an end, and it put me in a really bad position, so I wasn't really feeling the comedy. And Andrew just wanted to rehash all the old jokes. He wanted to bring back the shells, to do various stupid things, just kind of repeat what we did on Orkney.
Simon, on the other hand, had a toxic relationship with Taylor Swift. I mean, she cheating on him all the time, causing him a lot of anxiety. Probably shouldn't admit this, but I had a wee go as well, because she is my type. But anyway, that's where we were at that time. So when we went into Skye, we had our personal problems get in the way of our focus. And I just wanted to do what we'd done before, but improve it. Simon wanted to go something completely different, and that caused a lot of conflict between us.
When I look back at it, I think it's still funny, but it could have been the start of something much greater. I was beginning to feel like I was being held back by Andrew.
The problems surrounding the Isle of Skye shoot would have brought an end to any lesser duo. However, GrayBurn survived and went on to produce Kicking Off, their greatest, most successful work to date, almost bringing them a movie deal and masses of new fans and critical success. However, the problems that had plagued their career were about to reach breaking point.
Kicking Off. Now, the idea behind this is I wanted to give myself a lead role. I wanted to get back at Andrew for what happened to us in Whiskey and Walking, so I wrote myself in as the lead character, and that's something that I wasn't ready for, and I shouldn't have done it.
We embarked on Kicking Off in the spring of 2012, and it actually turned out to be one of our most popular, most successful videos, and I really like it, but again, production was troubled, and I think when looking back at it, it was really Simon's attempt to get back at me for hogging the limelight during the Whiskey and Walking shoot. And I get that, I understand that someone like me and my talent can induce a lot of jealousy.
We're going to write the next Onion Bones, and at this point Andrew was beginning to spiral out of control. He couldn't handle the fame in the same way that I was coping with it, well, just about anyway, and he was getting into the drugs. He was kind of leading the rock and roll lifestyle.
I did a lot of drugs at that point, and maybe they affected my ideas a bit. Simon certainly seems to think so.
I'm ashamed to say that his ideas were really off-putting. We had these good grounded solid Onion Bones foundation, and he was wanting to throw in this really stupid shit about talking pineapples, and I went, no Andrew, I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. And that's when it all kind of fell apart really. We didn't speak for 18 months.
When we went into Onion Bones 2, this was in full swing. I mean, to be honest, I maybe just wasn't in the right place at that time. I was baked. But he'd had enough at this point, and he basically rubbished every idea that I came out with. And although some were bad, like, he keeps moaning about this one about a talking pineapple, he thinks that it was just some goofy idea. He's not realising that it was satire. It was satire about the coalition government and its unpopular policies that year. He's never quite understood that. I mean, it's quite a high level concept. But that was the straw that broke the camel's back, really. And we had a massive falling out, and we weren't talking for about 18 months after that. I went on to enjoy that 18 months in New York. Did more drugs than I care to imagine. Slept with a lot of women. I think he had a introspective 18 months somewhere in London, not doing an awful lot, but I didn't care. I didn't talk to him, so that was that.
It was a riff that almost destroyed us.
The Onion Bones 2 debacle seemed like the end for GrayBurn. The relationship was severed, and no communication between the two occurred for nearly 18 months. The phones fell silent, the creative relationship was dead. It looked like it was all over, until one day, the phone rang.
So there I was. I'd moved back to Scotland because, well, London is London and it's shit. And I was thinking, right, I need to do something. I need to kind of, not announce that I'm back, but make some kind of deal out of it. And the only person I thought to call in this particular situation was Andrew. So I made the call and I said to Andrew, I've got an idea for a #1 hit. Let's head out to Mull and do what we do best.
After this 18-month hiatus, I got the phone call. The phone rang. My butler said, "Mr. Gray, it's Mr. Douglas." And I thought, "Oh, really? Oh well, I don't believe you, but give it to me." And sure enough, it was Simon, and he said, "Well, listen, I think, water under the bridge and all, I've got a great idea. We need to revitalise our career because it has value. Let's go to Mull. Let's just do the best video we've ever done." It was our finest work to date at that point. So I felt refreshed and reinvigorated by that. I think those long 18 months helped both of us. I pursued other interests. When I was having a relationship with Shania Twain, he said, "Oh, you should appear again with the guitar. Here you go." And I was like, "Okay." And this is the result of that.
We were having a good time for the first time in a long time.
The shock reunion took the world by surprise, and the surprising success of the Mull video inspired a new era in the duo's creative relationship, an era they call the industrial era, where a high quantity of videos one after the other were put out in quick succession.
Yes, we kind of started off at the beginning of 2014, inspired by the success of similar style programming, for example, Strange Places in Scotland, and we kind of took their lead and we started amping up the volume of videos we were putting out, and that started off with Round Springfield, and that was a good kind of introduction to what we started to do. It was kind of almost in a way going back, because that's what Glenn Left Not was about. It was about, here we are, one place, one day, shot in order, edited in order, and put out in order.
Round Springfield, and it was just us exploring an old abandoned mansion, going around the local area looking at stuff. It wasn't as large scale as anything we'd done, but this was when we were focusing more on quantity instead of pure cinematic quality, and it was good. We put out maybe 4 or 5 videos in that sort of initial period. We went to Boar Hills, we went to Peebles, and things were good. Right in the middle of the industrial era, the duo decided that they were going to do the most ambitious, most funny, most overreaching project that they'd ever done before. It was going to be called Skylander 2, The Quickening. It was a sequel to their original Sky video. However, as always, their most ambitious projects brought their biggest rifts.
Skylander 2. That was a somewhat dark period in our history. Essentially, Andrew had relapsed. Things weren't going very well for us, and these creative differences that fled up in the past, they were back. And I thought to myself, the only way we're going to be able to get through this and put out a video of calibre for the fans to appreciate is to bring along somebody else. So our good friend Ewan came with us, and he kind of stayed in the middle. He kind of stopped us going at each other's necks.
The experience of filming it was one of the worst experiences of my entire life. I thought things had been going pretty great since Mull, and then through to the first few videos after that, but again, we're two competing personalities. We're like an immovable rock and an unstoppable force colliding together, and this happened on Sky in big fashion. Simon again was getting annoyed with some of my creative ideas, completely missing the satire, the subtle point of a lot of them, and he thought, I'll bring Ewan along, and that'll rein the stupid bastard in. But this stupid bastard doesn't get reined in. He doesn't take pish, you know. And he'll say that all my ideas were stupid. He'll say that I took things too far. But he forgets, you know, I came up with the James Nesbitt stuff, and some of the stuff on there was just the funniest things that we'd done, and that was me. He never gives me credit for what I do, and I still get annoyed with that sometimes.
We came to filming the closing scene. We were on this lovely turquoise beach, and I said to Andrew, you need to do your usual magic here. You need to close off this video in style. And he just went off on this massive rant, and it was just horrible to have to film that and watch that. And by that stage he'd stormed off. He went back home by himself. So there was nothing we could do to fix the video. It just had to go out that way, with this rant ending the video instead of nice sentiments about Sky. And yeah, we were really fed up with each other at the time.
Things came to head when I had to do my closing speech. You know, I usually do some kind of poem or kind of monologue, and he just took it for granted that, you know, oh, you get here, do your thing right now. And I was just like, no, that's it, I'm going on strike. I'm not doing it. And basically I took a massive rage, and then I went home. I just left him, the production crew, behind. I said, do whatever you want, I've got my money, I don't care. Not long after the fraught and troubled production of Skylander 2, the duo had a massive argument. It was not known at the time what was said during these fallouts. However, they decided to part ways once again, with Andrew taking an extended break, going to New Zealand. They filmed one more video after this, Tower & Johnson and Den Fenella, where they appeared to be the best of friends as always. However, this was not the case. I decided that enough was enough. I was going to call it time on this creative relationship, and I wanted to pursue my interests abroad. I'd never been to New Zealand, and I thought, I'm going to go there and hopefully find a spiritual awakening, you know, somewhere to cleanse the soul, become a new version of the same person. And yeah, well, I had to kind of honour my commitments to the fans. To the fans I stress this, I didn't feel any commitment to Simon anymore, but I realised we needed to do a send-off, you know, and we acted really professionally in our last video. That was the Tara Johnson Den Fenella video.
So many times during that Tara Johnson video I wanted to push Andrew off the Den Fenella viaduct and just end it right there. I never did it, obviously, and I'm glad I never did it, but that's just how far things had come. Once again, I'm not proud of myself for this, but at the end of the video I was so sick of him acting smug, like he'd managed to get out of it. He'd managed to free himself from the tyranny of doing these GrayBurn videos, that we were due to go home. We only had the budget for one car that day, and we were in the car park, and I just slammed the doors and drove off and left him there.
And then he decided, oh, well, I'll take the only car we're using and leave him in the car park. And that's just when, to be honest, I was beyond getting angry at this point. I'd already decided I'm going to New Zealand. If he's going to do things like that, fuck him.
And I felt like I'd done the right thing. I was able to express myself, express my frustration at the fact that he was the reason that GrayBurn had come to an end. Him and his stupid ideas that were just ruining everything and he wasn't allowing things to just flow. Good riddance to him is what I was thinking at the time. Good riddance to that know-it-all, ungrateful prick.
With GrayBurn's working relationship effectively destroyed again, Simon Douglas decided to do something different. He would see if his own talents, his own abilities, would be able to be carried off on their own.
I thought to myself, I'm the one doing all the editing, I'm the one coming up with the ideas, and I'm the one who's the driving force behind GrayBurn Productions. So I decided to go at it on my own, do a series of solo videos. And these were met with mixed receptions. I was mostly focusing on the things that I like to visit, like old tunnels, old roads, and just kind of stuff that some people find interesting and other people find it boring.
Simon's solo career, oh well, what can I say? I know why he did it. He'd always made noises about doing something like that. You know, going, oh, I do all the work, I'm the creative force, blah de blah, I can be on the camera and whatnot. And, you know, I guess it was worth a shot, but when looking back at them, you know, it's just tunnels, dark places, dank stuff, boring road stuff and things like that. You know, he focused too much on his own interests without anything to kind of balance it. No, there's no fun, there was no humour, you know. In fact, it was so funny for just being bad, you know. It was like salt and shake without the salt, or, you know, shredded wheat without any milk. it was just, I mean, I guess he had to get out of his system. I shouldn't make fun, but he has rubbished a lot of my ideas in the past, so just a little bit of payback, I suppose you could call that.
I was really wishing at this point that Andrew was back, but I couldn't tell him. A lot of it was my fault for sending him away in the first place. And eventually I made contact, and something actually great came out of that, something that neither of us expected.
Eventually, Simon Douglas decided to contact Andrew Gray again. He had an idea which would span across either side of the world. This was to be Scotland versus New Zealand. The logistics of filming across two continents were difficult for the duo. However, their lack of constant presence in front of each other allowed the creative side of the relationship to flourish without the personal one interfering.
So with this mixed success of the solo videos, I thought, what if I get Andrew to do something similar to what I've been doing, and I carry on what I'm doing, but we mix them together and kind of put in a theme. And that was basically the premise behind Scotland versus New Zealand, and it kind of got us back to writing again, it got us speaking again.
Scotland versus New Zealand was an interesting project. I got a call from Simon saying that, you know, he wanted to do something again. I was like, oh no, not this stupid bastard again. Every time we work together, things just go to shit. He said, no, it's not like this time. You know, we don't have to see each other that much. We can communicate electronically and just pass through ideas to each other, see how it goes. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I said, alright, okay, let's give it a try, I suppose. And yeah, we thought, let's combine what's good about Scotland, what's good about New Zealand, take this unique opportunity, which most people wouldn't be able to do, and create something amazing out of it. It was a learning experience. It was maybe not the best thing we've ever done, it's certainly not the worst. It showed the world that he needed me back in the picture to really make things click. I had the right kind of vibes just to balance things out again. And yeah, I enjoyed the experience, and it kind of made me miss working with him. And I'd been on a spiritual adventure in New Zealand. I'd really seen my soul change and grow, and I thought, maybe I'm mature enough to go back into this creative relationship full time. Maybe I've learnt in New Zealand what needs to be done to make GrayBurn the greatest working relationship in the world.
Late 2014 saw the return of Andrew Gray to Scotland's shores. The relationship of creativity was back on. They began filming what was going to be the new industrial period, and in particular, their videos concerning the A9 in Idlewild
did a lot to bring the relationship back into good health.
So when Andrew came back, it also happened to coincide with Idlewild returning to the scene. We've been big fans of them for years, and it seemed like a nice way to reintroduce ourselves to the world at large.
No more silly boy stuff, we're grown men now. And we went right into it. We did the Thurlstone, the most epic video we've ever done. And then we did the A9 Idlewild stuff. Now this was good. We both love the band Idlewild. We knew this from when we first met. We always talk about them, and we thought, let's go and see them, but let's also do a video of our journey to go and see them. And the theory was bringing both interests together should create a brilliant video. It didn't at all. It brought two brilliant videos.
And it kind of kick-started everything again, and we kind of ran consistently for a good near 6 months of just churning out a video every couple of weeks. And these included various guest stars, including people like Stuart Bunce, Jag Betty, Richard Black, and other famous names like Danny DeVito, who joined us during the Pine Forest episode that a lot of people remember. And it was just a really good time period in our career, and one that's kind of seen us moving forward, continue to build our audience, bringing us further up on the global scale.
We saw many guest appearances from likes of Jag Betty, Richard, James. We got celebrities in as well. We even did a video with Sean Bean, and we got to the end. It was great. I thought, oh shit, this is the first video where Sean Bean doesn't die in it. I thought, well, we can't break that amazing record, so I forced Sean to film a death scene. He wasn't that happy about it. He thought he was finally going to live, but we corrected the balance there. It was a good time. It was fun. The duo's increased success with the second industrial period led on to one of their finest pieces of work, the Torridon video. This combined their amazing ability to produce comedic segments, but blended it also with heartfelt sentiment. The production values were high, and the finished product met with the greatest critical acclaim of any of their works.
Torridon, it was really an eye-opener. We've been pumping out video week after week after week, and for whatever reason we seemed to up the game there. The weather was glorious, the walking conditions were good, and it really is just some of the best scenery that Scotland has to offer, and I think that really inspired the tone and the nature of the video.
The great weather, the scenery, it just inspired us. It was just a great experience all around. Put one of my best monologues that I've ever done to camera. I didn't want to cut Simon's head off once during the whole thing. He was accommodating to my ideas, even some of the silly ones, and I took a bit of pressure off of him too. I was less egotistical than I've ever been. It was just a great set of circumstances, and it just shows through the video. It's a work of art. And every video we've done after that has taken a bit of that spirit. It maybe never is quite as good as that. That's probably the high watermark. But everything we've done since, we've learned from, and we've just become a stronger duo. And I hope that we can go another 5 years, possibly even more, doing things just as good.
GrayBurn is something that really matters to both of us, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
GrayBurn Productions continues to this day, going stronger than ever and producing many more videos than they've ever done before. The relationship is as strong as it's ever been as well, with Andrew Gray now realising his talents are as a front of cameraman, a presenter, a man of charisma, whereas Simon's is of a great editor, producer and brilliant scriptwriter. Their increased understanding of their own talents has brought them closer together and healed the many rifts that they've had through their career. With many more years set ahead of them, we wish GrayBurn all the best and look forward to their next outing.
What the hell was that?
That was just totally misrepresenting me. I never said it like that. That's been edited together to make me look like a fool.
I mean, it makes us look like idiots, like pricks, like we're complete hacks, we couldn't take the fame.
I know, this was supposed to be a celebration of us, a tribute.
I mean, they missed out all the good stuff. What about those scenes of me scaling mountains and looking good? And they just skipped all that and just gave us this horrible stuff of us looking... You know what?
I spent half an hour talking about charity work and they never fucking showed it.
You know what? We need to go beat this guy up. Whoever it is who edited this together. We need to go fuck him right up. Come on.
Well, good news is I know where he lives.
Yeah.